Hi, welcome to my video on the powers of a quotient of exponentials. The previous video we did the power of the products. Now we're going to do the power of a quotient. A quotient is division. So as you remember, when the power is distributed in through. So if we think about x over y times x over y times x over y. On the top you get x cubed, at the bottom you get y cubed. Because you got 1, 1, 1 adds up to be 3. 1, 1, 1 adds up to be 3. A over b times a over b times a over b times a over b gives you a to the fourth, b to the fourth. Because when you're multiplying, you add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And same thing on the bottom, 4 ones. And this is x cubed y5, x cubed y5, x cubed over y5, and x cubed over y5. And on the top, you have all x's, so you add, or 4 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 12. At the bottom, you have all y's, you get 5 4s, 20. And you have c squared f4 over g3 times c squared f4 over g3. And when you're multiplying, you add your exponents of 4. When you're multiplying, you add. And when you're multiplying, you add. But you notice this is the long way. Why not distribute your power in through? Like 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6, because the 2, if it was just g cubed, if that was just g cubed, or if the g cubed was missing, you would get the 2 into the 2 of these. Now the 2 goes into all of the exponents, no matter if they're top or bottom. So the power of a quotient is that's a 1 and a 1, so that's a to the m over b to the m. M times 1, m times 1. And when you have a power other than 1, a to the x m over b to the x m. So let's do some practice. So we have the 3 is distributed in through power of a power, so we multiply and get 18. 3 is distributed into the power of 2, so we get 6. Power of a power. That's a 1, so it's a to the 5 and b to the 20. The 5 is multiplied by the 1 and the 4. And x, 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. And the t is 6 times 2 is 12. Notice you can't work these out because they're different bases. You can't go 10 subtract 12 or 8 subtract 12. You can't add those because they're different bases. You can only, when you're multiplying, they got to be the same bases. When you divide, got to be the same bases. D, let's work each of these brackets out by PEMDAS. Just think about it. PEMDAS. The brackets are already done. You can't do anything. Let's do the powers. Power of a power, we multiply. Power of a power, we multiply. Times, that's a 1. So that's 1 times 6 is 6, and 2 times 6 is 12. So we have the exponents done. Now, we can't divide these because they're not the same basis, but we can multiply across as if we're multiplying fractions. So that's x to the 18 and y to the 40, because when you're multiplying, you can add your exponents, and that's all we can do because there are x's and y's on top and bottom. We can't subtract because they're not the same basis. And e, a to the 10, b to the 7, we have leave alone, and we work the power of a power. So b to the 12 over a to the 9, power of a power. 4 times 3, 3 times 3. Now, if you notice, we have, you can't subtract these because they're not the same basis. So let's combine the top. So A 10, B 12. We can't add the exponents because it's not the same basis. Let's combine the bottom. So if I want to put that A in front, A to the 9, B to the 7, I can, because multiplication is commutative. I can switch them around. Notice you're multiplying all the time. And now I have them lined up. Because I'm dividing, I subtract to get a 1. Because I'm dividing, I subtract to get a 5. So that really becomes A, B, 5. The 1 is understood. Just think about it. It's not hard. Just, this is the first time that I've had A's and B's on top and bottom, and I moved them around. So just think about it. Not very difficult. And pause your video. Work these 7 out to see if you're going to get the right answers. And here I go. Power of a power, A to the 12, B to the 21. That's a 1. Power of a power, I get 4, and I get G to the 20. I can't do anything with these because they're different bases. I can't subtract. A and B, different bases. I can't subtract. And I get an X to the 10, Y to the 15, because of a power of 2 times 5, 3 times 5. And V to the 30, power of a power. You're multiplying 5 into all these exponents. And number 4, we have to work the exponents first. So A to the 12, B to the 6, C to the 4, D to the 2. Remember, that's a 1. So 2 times 6, 3 times 2, 2 times 2, 2 times 1. And power of a power, that's A to the 21 and D to the 12. Power of a power. Now that I have the exponents done, I have to multiply. So notice I can't do anything with any of these because these bases are not alike. These bases are not alike. So let's combine the top and combine the bottom. So when I'm multiplying on the top, I get A to the 33. B to the 6. There's no B's to go with. Only the A's can go together. On the bottom, only the D's can go together. Because when I multiply, I can only work with the like bases. So when I multiply, I add. So the D's go together, so that gives you 14. Now I have A's, B's, C's, and D's. I cannot subtract any of these because they're not alike. Just keep thinking. Everything flows. Now, this is a little bit different. What about if I could simplify the inside of this? Let's do PEMDAS. PEMDAS is the first one you had like this. If I work the inside of this bracket first, then it makes it easier. It's like when you're multiplying fractions. If you cancel first, it makes it easier. You don't get big numbers. So let's simplify the inside. See what we get. So I get 6 on the top and bottom. So that's a 1. 6 subtract 1 is 5. I got Y's top and bottom, so I subtract and get a 5. I got V's on top and bottom, I subtract and get a 3. So I'm able to simplify the inside of this before I square. So that's done. Now let's do the exponent. So I get X to the 10, Y to the 10, V to the 6, and I have nothing left. I could have, and I could take the 2 and move it into all of these, like X to the 12, Y to the 16, V to the 14. And then take the 2 and move them into the powers on the bottom. X squared, Y 6, V 8. So after I move the 2 in, which is the other way, now I can, because I'm dividing, I can cancel. I can subtract my exponents, I don't cancel. So 12 subtract 2 is 10. Y, 16 subtract 6 is 10. And 14 subtract 8 is 6. So I still get the same answer. But notice, if you simplify the inside first, because you're dividing, you subtract the exponent, then the 2 times the 5, 3, and is easier to work with. Number 6, let's work the exponents first. X to the 10. Y to the 8 times y to the 18 all over x to the 12. Remember, we're always think of PEM, DAS. Can I work the inside of these? No. So now I just did the exponents. Now I'm going to multiply. Can I cancel these, subtract? No. Can I subtract here? No, because they're not the same. So let's combine the top. X 10, Y 18, and move the x's. I can do the 12 and the y to the 8, because y to the 8 times x to the 12 is the same as x to the 12 times y to the 8. Again, remember I just said 6 times 3 is the same as 3 times 6. When you're multiplying, you can switch them around, commutative. Because you're dividing, you can subtract. So I get y to the 10. But notice now, if I subtract here, I'm going to get a negative. So let's go with 12 subtract 10. Subtract 10 off the bottom, and I get the 2 on the bottom. I don't want any, if I go the other way, I'll get a negative exponent. 10 subtract 12 would be negative 2. So that would have been a negative, x to the negative 2. But let's leave them all positive. Negative exponents is coming up next. Number 7, I have to work my brackets first. Can't do it. Oops, already simplified. Power of a power, b to the 6th, c to the 8th. And power of a power, c to the 4, and that's a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm multiplying, so I got an a squared b 6 c 4. So if I keep them in order, then it keeps it. Put the a first, put the b next, put the c next. Because you can switch these around because you're multiplying. Now, because you're dividing, subtract. That cancels out. That's a 1 minus 6 minus 1 is 5. And the c, if I subtract 8, subtract 4, it's on the bottom. If I do it the other way, I'll get c, 4 minus 8, that's c to the negative 4. So let's not go with the negative. Let's subtract, take the 4 off the 8 on the bottom, so the c stays on the bottom as a 4. This is coming up in the next video, how to handle c to the negative 4. Anyway, if you like my video, click on the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, write a comment if you wish, and visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, and you can see 3 sections on me, video, and content. In the section on me, I have my degrees and teaching experience. In the section on videos, it tells you the teaching strategies you're going to use to help you learn your math. In the section on content, I have the topics that I have online, or the units, the number of videos on each topic, and in black font is topics that are already online, and the red font is the topics that I'll be developing in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.